Stuart Murray, thank you so much for bringing me to your favourite bar, which is the Welcome in
Lovely
Forkhill,
people.
Armagh.
Armagh, lovely spot, lovely spot. And from a Dublin bloke saying, "What the hell are you doing in the welcome in?" Yeah,
For those that maybe aren't overly geographically aware of Ireland, Armagh is in the six counties, which is pretty north. So, and that's definitely, as you say, a Dublin accent. So there has to be a story as to why we're here.
the short story would be the woman,
A
the new
woman.
woman, the woman. That's the short story of the life. And it's in very much a staggering distance from our house. So that's the easiest way. It's the one pub I probably frequent the most. I could have went through loads of pubs from Dublin to Dingle, or some nice pubs in Dingle as well, and Kenmare, but it's the one pub I definitely spend probably too much time in at the weekend. So
But look at it, there's billions, millions, hundreds of millions being spent on gastropubs, the length and breadth of everywhere.
yeah,
And I'm guessing that those chairs there probably been the same chairs for 25 years, 30 years maybe.
and more. Yeah, they've got two new owners now over the last, I think, just after Christmas. Two new owners in, and they're starting to kind of tittivate it a little bit. Tittivate, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's exact same. So it's
I don't
lovely.
see a TV. Is there a TV? Because
There is
sometimes
actually, so the
is
picture
that
that's behind your head, believe it or not, that has a big TV there now.
this?
Yeah, that's a big TV there now.
It's a
So
funny one, that isn't it? It's a funny
yeah,
one that the TV thing going into everywhere seems to have them. And when I wonder will it reverse when you go into a bar now in the future and there's no TV? It's actually nicer nearly.
no, it's nice, and because they wouldn't, well, I shouldn't say this out loud, but they wouldn't necessarily have probably Sky Sports subscription. They might use different elements to get you, and especially if there's a local GAA game on as well, where they're getting some local commentary of a game of a
Yeah,
local team, so they'll definitely be able to get the access to that. But it's
yeah.
a nice pub. It's they're lovely people as well, like, and very welcoming, especially for a dub walking into South Armagh. So
Yeah, yeah, and we'll let anybody who wants to understand about the significance of that Google it because we don't have time
no,
on this particular show.
we're not
Right,
going
so you're
political.
sitting there and we're up on one of those stools, and you're feeling all philosophical and all, and you're going to regale the whole gang with a quote.
There's probably two quotes
Right.
that I love, right? And one is an easy one where everyone loves to see you doing well. Everyone loves to see you being successful, getting on in life. But then the caveat to that is, as long as you're not doing better than them, which is quite unique for people. The people like to see you doing okay, but if you're doing better than them, Irish people kind of have a perspective of trying to knock you down off that peg a bit. So that's one quote. But the one quote, and if you got my number and you see me on WhatsApp, it's failure is not in falling down, failure is not getting up,
Yeah.
because we've all fallen down in life. But you have to get back up, and so don't ever class as anything as being failure. But as long as you're getting up and getting on, perfect. That's my
Isn't,
one
isn't,
quote.
isn't that so true? Because if you ever listen to any of the great, great, great sports people or the great musicians or the great actors and stuff, uh, everything's grand until something happens.
Exactly, exactly.
And I just listened to Sonny Boy. It's what's his name, Al Pacino. His and he was turned down. He was turned down to be an usher in a theater. He was so bad, and he just kept going. He just kept going. I mean, I know that you like music, and I'm sure the first time you were given a guitar, it
Broke a
hurts the
string.
fingers, doesn't it? It hurts.
I remember having a nylon guitar, Spanish guitar, and I took the nylon strings off and I put metal strings on, which you don't do in a guitar, and it bowed considerably. And I remember having, if you remember GAA, the old Makita gloves, which
Yeah,
like beehive gloves, as you call them,
yeah.
wearing them on my fingers because my fingers were killing me. But I just kept going, and I could have given up and said, "No, this is too sore." But I kept going till I got the calluses, and yeah,
That's the truth. That because we often think about this sort of failure and stuff as failure. It's actually just learning.
exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
not sure there's
As long as you learn from it, though, if you keep going and still making the same mistake, well, then, okay, someone needs to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I remember having a chat with a fellow, one of my early peers in the industry, and he said, "Keep just falling, just make sure you keep falling forward."
Exactly. Yeah.
It was great. He says, "If you fall backwards, you have to keep moving forward." So I liked that quote. I like that one. The first one is an interesting one. It probably is along the lines of, that saying, uh, "Prophets are very rarely recognized in their own land," as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I like that one as well. Yeah.
And you get this sense sometimes, and it doesn't, like I often think about Bono in Ireland. People have a view,
He's
but you
Marmite.
go, but you go to America or somewhere, and and
Exactly.
I often think, is that because he's Irish and we have this? It's funny
Where
what
he could walk down the street in Ireland or Dublin and people go, yeah, he's over there. Yeah. Yeah. But you
it.
go somewhere else and they just swarm him, love him so.
And there you go. So somebody has to be right and somebody has to be wrong. So it's just about biases, and I'm sure that's
Yeah.
part of
Exactly.
it is part of it as well. But the little quotes like that are always great because you're probably trying to communicate them to younger people, or and like what you do very well, associating them with day-to-day things.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm gone. You've blown me away with all of your quotes, and I'm just said I can't take any more. And the door opens, dead or alive. Who's standing there? Would you absolutely love it to be?
Oh, yeah. Dead or alive. Well, he's
Yeah.
alive. He's definitely alive.
Right.
Uh, I support Aston Villa for my sins. Well, not for my
Oh,
sins anymore because we're doing okay. And
that's right.
in Aston Villa, he's known as God.
Right.
And it's probably a bit controversial bringing him into a pub, but it's Paul McGrath.
Oh, yeah.
Paul McGrath was my absolute hero. Him and Zidane, from a footballing perspective, because I played a lot of football in my day. But them two, but Paul McGrath, and especially after reading his book, oh
Yeah.
my God, what a story, what a
Yeah.
story. So
And again, we get a lot of people hooking into this that aren't maybe even in the British Isles. So maybe you want to give us some context. When you say Paul McGrath,
yeah,
it might sound an Irish name, but he transcends all sorts of stuff, doesn't he?
exactly. So he gifted football player, but the reason why I say it's controversial bringing him into a pub is because he was an alcoholic, and he's actually played some really top level football matches drunk under the influence. And he said he played better. And there's obviously anxiety, there was issues growing up. Uh, but and I probably had a kind of a fanboy moment when we were in Amsterdam and Bernard Brogan was in the pub as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to get a picture with him and I apologize for being a fanboy, but I was over many years ago with my son. We were watching United play and
Yeah.
we're getting the last Ryanair flight out. And I saw Paul McGrath getting on the plane and he sat in the seat directly in front of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I
Yeah. Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
kiss his head.
Yeah. Yeah. But you see, I think what happens as well is that people of sporting and acting and stuff, that a lot of their demons come out, but everybody has demons.
Exactly. Exactly.
And his were in full view, whereas the rest of us can sort of go away and sort it out and
Hide
come
them
back.
away. Hide them away.
And I do remember, and you probably do as well. And I guess this just gives you a sense of how wonderful a bloke he was as well. Because he would have been part of Jack's army, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ooh, Paul McGrath had his
Who
own.
Paul McGrath, and unfortunately Jack Charlton in his later years got and developed dementia. And there was a documentary, I don't know if you saw, and it was about that last couple of years. And he's blank, it's a brutal disease. It was blank and stuff, and he was just showing him matches in Ireland in Giant Stadium and Gelsenkirchen and all this type of stuff, and he was just not acknowledging anything. And Paul McGrath came on, and his eyes lit up.
Just remember them.
He just said, "Oh, what a boy, what a boy,"
Yeah.
and that was the type of emotion. But I mean, I guess the fact that we knew he had demons and the fact that we knew it endeared him even more to you.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Didn't it?
if you read his book and just the understanding of it and what he went through, and it just gave me even deeper sense of love for the man. What he did, how he went to that top level football, playing in World Cups, and
Huh?
still you're kind of going, my God. And
Yeah,
that probably falls back to the quote, failure's not in falling down, failure's not getting up. Like, and so it's the same thing. He just kept going. He kept persevering and kept making a career for himself. So fair play to him. Love it.
that's for sure. And I've just finished myself Georgie Best's biography, and there's similarities but not similarities. And where you are sitting there, I'd say if you were to say to many a fella, Georgie Best and Paul McGrath are probably in the
There would be, yeah. There
same
would be.
discussion, you know.
Same, exact same.
So kindest thing. What's the
Point.
kindest thing anybody's ever done for you or said to you or whatever?
I've had a lot of really strong people around me, growing up from my brothers to uncles as well. It is the kindest thing that's ever been said to me. But it was when I was cutting my teeth in this career, and uh, my son was only about the partner at the time was 4 months pregnant with him. I was doing a purchase manager job in a bill of material company,
Yeah.
and a role came up to be a sales rep, and the manager at the time goes, I think you'd be good for this. I think you should go for it. And I'm there thinking, okay. And then you're going to get a company car, and you're going to have the phone and the perk. And I was there going, great, I can support being a new daddy. And then he goes, go off and come back if you have any questions tomorrow. So I came back the next day and went, okay, I don't know if I can be a sales rep, but what if I make an absolute shite of it?
Yeah.
What do we do then? And he went to me, you're gone. That's it. You only have one go of it. That's it. You can't come back into your old role that you have,
Okay.
like. And
Okay.
and now on reflection, it was the best thing and most kindest thing you can say, because he took the safety net away. So I had to make it work. Being a brand new father, having the support, he took the safety net. So I had to make it work. So I never had that like, oh, this might work, mightn't work. I had to make it work. And that was the kind of cornerstone of my career. That took me out onto the road, that took me meeting people, cut me teeth in the whole construction industry of learning different techniques and all that. So it was incredible. And he probably wouldn't even think of it now. But yeah,
Yeah.
that for me, that was just the pinnacle, the defining moment of my career in construction. So
It sounds brutal, but I mean, you're a father now of two boys, and I'm a father as well. Um, Hard love, they call it, I think, or there's a brand on it. You sort of have a sense that they can do it. So he probably knew you could do it,
yeah,
Stuart.
yeah, he
He's,
definitely did. He definitely
he
did.
sort of knew you could do it. So it was a learned answer for you. It was an experience. Sometimes what happens is you take experience for people who don't have that instinct, so they're nearly setting you up. But you obviously respected him, and he respected you.
Exactly.
Um, my first job, bit like yourself, when I was moving into sales, I was a really bad technical person. I mean, I didn't have the attention of a fucking gnat. But I was moving into sales, and the guy said, just make sure that you're part of the recruitment process for your replacement. And
Okay.
I said, why would I do that? Why would I? Because therefore, if you can get someone that's replacing you that's better than what you were at that job, you're not looking behind you all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an ego thing, man.
Yeah.
People love, oh, you're not as good as X, or you're not as good as Y. And all that happens is you get dragged back. You've moved
Exactly.
on. You're going for that North Star. Let them go for that one. And
Yeah.
it's funny the things you remember when somebody like yourself says the kindest thing was actually quite tough at the time, probably.
Yeah. It was kind because he gave me the opportunity, and he gave me the kind of kick and push that I would have just walked straight into the role and have easily kind of gone, nah, I can't do this. I'm gone. See you later. Bye.
Yeah, yeah, no,
So
it's great.
bring me back to my comfort zone. It was pretty much taking me out of my comfort zone,
Comfort
essentially.
zone.
So yeah.
So
We all
Stuart,
love a comfort zone. So
yeah, we do. Yeah, we're all creatures of habit. Um, and obviously, as an Arsenal supporter, I feel your pain.
yeah.
Being a Villa supporter, we always get that close, and then, oh, really, honestly. But we've a great sense of humour being two supporters of two clubs that just seem to always get us just close enough.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
but it's been short and sharp, but it's been interesting.
I appreciate it. It's brilliant.
I thank you for joining Host in Ireland. You're Sika year one, so hope it goes as well as we hope it'll go. And
Onwards and upwards.
yeah, so thanks a million. It's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
See you later.
Cheers.